In this imagined 2025 royal chapter, everything seemed predictable. Royal ceremonies followed tradition. Protocol guided every step. History felt set in stone. But then came the moment no one expected. Because the wedding of Princess Leonor of Spain didn't just follow tradition, it transformed it. And the world is still asking the same question: how did a single ceremony rewrite global bridal trends in one unforgettable day? From the very first whisper of her engagement, anticipation surged across continents. Leonor, the future Queen of Spain, had always carried a quiet strength. A dignity beyond her years. Yet when news of her royal wedding broke, it wasn't just a national celebration. It became a global phenomenon. People didn't want details. They wanted meaning. They wanted symbolism. They wanted to understand how this young princess would merge centuries of monarchy with a modern love story grounded in authenticity. But the first major shock came long before the vows. When the palace released the initial design sketches of her gown, experts were stunned. It wasn't the lace-heavy silhouette people expected. It wasn't a replica of Queen Letitia's. It wasn't even reminiscent of the traditional Spanish mantilla. Instead, the dress carried something deeper, an unexpected fusion of bold minimalism with delicate ancestral motifs. It hinted at a story, a legacy, a quiet rebellion woven in silk. Immediately, questions erupted. Why choose simplicity when tradition called for grandeur? Why a modern cut when the world expected a royal spectacle? Why now, at the very moment the world watched most closely? But answers would unfold slowly, one breathtaking detail at a time. When the day of the ceremony arrived, Madrid transformed into a living tapestry of emotion. Streets filled with families waving Spanish flags. International media broadcast every moment. Fashion houses held their breath. Royal watchers around the world speculated what unprecedented element the princess had prepared. And then came the next surprise. Leonor stepped out of the car. And the world fell silent. Her gown shimmered with an almost ethereal softness, crafted with eco-conscious Spanish silk, embroidered with threads inspired by 13th-century royal patterns, yet shaped into a sleek, modern silhouette. And there, subtly placed across the bodice, were three symbolic motifs: unity, legacy, and renewal. The kind of symbolism that a future monarch would choose deliberately, courageously, lovingly. Fashion analysts called it a turning point. Not because it was extravagant, but because it was purposeful. It carried story over spectacle, meaning over excess. And before the ceremony even began, bridal designers from Denmark to Los Angeles were already sketching reinterpretations. Spain, once admired for its heritage, had suddenly become the epicenter of modern bridal influence. But the dress wasn't the only detail shifting global trends. Next came the procession. Rather than a long, dramatic walk accompanied by an ocean of attendants, Leonor made a choice rooted in emotion. She entered with a quiet grace, accompanied only by her parents, King Felipe and Queen Letizia, and her sister, Princess Sofia. A symbolic gesture showing the unity of a family that had navigated pressures, expectations, and the weight of monarchy together. It was intimate. It was vulnerable. And it sent a powerful message. The royal family was presenting itself not as untouchable, but as human. This ignited a new global trend instantly: smaller, emotionally driven bridal entourages. Weddings emphasizing closeness, not grandeur. Connections, not protocols. And then came the ceremony itself. Held inside Madrid's Almudena Cathedral, the atmosphere was almost cinematic. Rays of sunlight filtered through stained glass, creating a golden aura around the couple as they took their place before the altar. Every movement felt meaningful. Every gesture silently narrated their journey. As the vows began, curiosity swelled. Would Leonor follow the traditional royal script? Or would she dare to redefine the words spoken by monarchs before her? Once again, she chose love over expectation. Her vows were personal, gentle, resolute. She spoke of partnership, duty, and devotion, not only as a future queen, but as a woman choosing a life built on respect and understanding. The sincerity in her voice changed the entire tone of the ceremony. It set off yet another trend: deeply personal vows in formal weddings, blending tradition with individuality. But then came the moment that truly stunned the world. After the exchange of rings, crafted from repurposed royal gold, a unique element unfolded. A quiet pause. A symbolic gesture seldom seen in royal weddings. The couple, instead of turning immediately to the crowd, shared a private nod, a small, warm smile. It was a glimpse of their bond, a simple moment of unguarded love. And for millions watching, that human touch became the highlight of the ceremony. Photographers captured it instantly. Fashion critics praised it. Social media erupted with admiration. Couples everywhere began incorporating similar moments, unscripted pauses of connection, hidden in the most formal parts of their weddings. But the global impact didn't end there. When Leonor stepped out of the cathedral, sunlight illuminated the long veil floating behind her, a veil embroidered with the royal family's historical symbols, subtly integrated into a modern minimalist design. This fusion ignited a bridal trend overnight, veils that tell a story. Not decorative, not extravagant, but meaningful. Then came her bouquet, a mix of classic Spanish orange blossoms with new additions representing unity across cultures. Florists around the world adopted the blend within hours, calling it the Leonor symbolism bouquet. Still, the public wasn't prepared for yet another transformation. At the reception, Leonor made her final bridal reveal, a second gown. Instead of something flashy or dramatically different, she chose a soft, elegant evening dress, still Spanish-made, still symbolic, still reflective of her personality. It represented comfort, authenticity, and emotional presence over spectacle. Again, designers worldwide took immediate inspiration. Throughout the celebration, the camera frequently captured moments between Leonor and her family, her father's proud smile, her mother's quiet emotion, her sister's supportive glances. Each moment created an emotional resonance that viewers felt deeply. It wasn't just a royal wedding. It was the evolution of a monarchy through the lens of love and humanity. And as the evening progressed, curiosity continued to rise. What did the guests say? How did the international royals react? What fashion choices stood out? What new traditions were quietly born that night? Royal families from Europe and beyond marveled at how naturally Leonor balanced tradition with modernity. Fashion icons praised her restraint. Cultural historians noted the symbolism woven into every element. And political analysts observed how the event strengthened Spain's international image through the power of soft diplomacy. Each moment answered one question while creating another, pulling the world deeper into the narrative, one emotional revelation at a time. But perhaps the most defining moment occurred near the end of the night. Stepping onto the balcony of the royal palace with her new husband, Leonor waved to the crowds below. But what caught everyone's attention wasn't the grandeur, it was the emotion in her expression. A future queen stepping into her destiny with strength, humility, and love. The cheers that rose from the crowd echoed across the city, marking not just a wedding, but the beginning of an era. An era shaped by a monarch who chose authenticity over spectacle, purpose over protocol, and connection over perfection. And that is why the royal wedding of 2025 didn't merely follow trends, it created them. Bridal fashion shifted. Ceremony structures evolved. Symbolism became a cornerstone of design. And Spain emerged as a global leader in modern wedding aesthetics. What began as a day of personal joy became a blueprint for a new generation of brides. A moment where love, monarchy, and meaning collided into a beautifully transformative experience. And the world is still enchanted by the question, what other traditions will Princess Leonor reshape as she steps closer to the throne? Because if her wedding was any indication, the future of Spain, and the future of royal storytelling, has never been more captivating.